Halo 2 is one of the best FPS campaigns of all time, despite it being held together by duct tape and gondola rides sometimes. The game is full of incredible missions and god-tier storytelling. So what missions would I classify as perfection? And which ones do I wish Bungie just would have cut during the time crunch? Oh no, I guess you're gonna have to watch to find out. Please subscribe. Starting out with number 1.
What if you miss?
I won't.
Cairo Station. S. Halo knows how to make intro missions better than anybody, ever. Every introductory level in the trilogy smacks harder than this guy. I don't know him personally, but it looks like he hits pretty hard. Cairo Station was my first introduction to the Halo series, at a whopping 5 years old. When Chief lifted up that helmet for the first time, I shit my little 5-year-old britches. Overall, I really do just enjoy the pacing of this level, even though the bugger section makes sliding across the wooden bridge and getting a splinter in your butt look more appealing. Not that that's ever happened to me. The Elite Room past that is iconic. I think it's a really great and intimidating challenge, especially on Legendary. So yeah, S.
And we most definitely regret the Corps just blew up our raggedy-ass fleet! Hoorah!
Outskirts. S. Alright, Outskirts. Yeah, it's another S. Almost entirely for the speedrunning tricks. Something about that first grenade jump to get up, running across the rooftops, bouncing a grenade off the bridge barrier, jumping on top of another roof. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't do the speedrunning tricks, the mission's still fun. A lot of Halo 2 is hold out and have a firefight in one section, but I think this is one area that kind of does it well. Cool and creepy hallways in the middle of the mission, and the tunnel run at the end, especially on Legendary. It's kind of a fun little endurance run, especially if you're trying to go for time.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
Metropolis. A. I'm aware I'm doing spins on this game's intro, but again, it just smacks. The bridge section, honestly, is the only thing keeping this from being an S tier. I'm not sure why, it's just not my favorite. I always end up jumping in a Warthog and just speeding across it, avoiding all the ghosts as fast as physically possible. But then again, I need an Adderall prescription that could probably kill a small horse. But after that, the mission just vibes out. I love going in the tunnel and getting the shotgun. I love punching the jackal in the back, and then Halo 2 kind of has its own little Breath of the Wild moment when you come out, the chapter starts, and there's a little battle down below, which is really fun to enjoy unless you're playing on Legendary and you just get shot in the forehead about 47 times. You know, it happens. I feel entirely indifferent about the section. Wait, the script just says the section that I get fisted. Wait, that didn't kill. What? Put a grenade in him. I opened up his little thing and just shot. It's fun on lower difficulties. On higher difficulty, it makes me want to stub my toe in the corner of my couch over and over and over and over. And after that, there's a scarab. Dudes will just look at this and say, hell yeah. And after those 3 missions, we come to...
The council decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your execution are up to me.
Arbiter. C. Halo 2 is kind of bipolar to me. I might lose a lot of you here, but hear me out. To me, the first 3 missions kick ass. The missions are bright and interesting to look at. There's a lot of darkness and contrast in those sections. It all feels pretty inspired. But then the Arbiter comes along and it kind of slows things down, in my opinion. The mission design kind of tanks a little bit as well. The Arbiter just kind of seems to have a lot of uninspired corridor fighting, and it's not all that interesting. Now, don't get me wrong. The stories for these missions kick chunky ass. The way I see Halo 2 is the Master Chief missions. The gameplay's a lot more engaging and interesting, and I think the level design is a lot better. But then the Arbiter side of things, the story is a lot better, but the gameplay suffers so much to me, which is kind of the important part of a video game. That being said, the Arbiter's invisibility is a welcome addition. Gives you a little stealth option in your pocket. And when I get back to the Master Chief, I usually wish I had it, because I realize I relied on it too much because I'm bad. Now, the Banshee section of this mission does go hard. I mean, look at that skybox. Papa Bliss. And the soundtrack behind it's insane. Like, most of Halo's like, wow, beautiful piano, some choir. I mean, yeah, Steve Vai in the intro, sure. But this mission is just balls to the walls, guitars, and prog metals, and flaming guitar solos. Sadly, though, that doesn't really save the mission for me too much. That section does kind of drag on a little long. It's a theme in Halo 2 sometimes. But to be honest with you, the first 2 Arbiter missions are probably my least favorite missions in the game. Speaking of the second one.
That stench. I've smelled it before.
This mission, I don't know. I can't decide if I want to put it in C or D, so we're going to go through this and I'm going to decide after. So sure, cutting the cables in this mission and running back as the whole space station spirals down through a hurricane is super sick. I actually like backtracing through the mission. I just pop my invisibility like a little Pez dispenser the entire time and just run through as everyone freaks out. The mission also introduces the flood, but too bad that's not a compliment, because holy prophet of regurt, did they soil it. I love you, Bungie. I know the game was rushed, but that doesn't prevent me from wanting to rip my hair out during this game's sit around and wait section. Again, I need sedated, but still, it can't just be me, right? Please. I think the Arbiter mission's got the worst of this too. In Delta Halo, you ride down a beautiful elevator and listen to Cortana tell you a little story about the prophets and his premature arrival. Yeah, in the Oracle, you ride the worst, most inconvenient, slow, pile of trash elevator of all time. The flood parades you the entire time. Sentinel beams beam you. You see what I did there? I just don't like it. I always jump off the side as soon as I physically possibly can, and that's probably not a good sign. Yeah, no, I think Oracle's a D. Oracle. D. This mission's lucky I like cutting space stations into hurricanes and free falling through space.
Could we possibly possibly make any more noise? I guess so.
Delta Halo S. I know, another Master Chief Mission S, I'm sorry. This mission start to finish is one of my favorite in the series. It has the best firefight section, the best vehicle section, maybe the best cutscene, and if you don't enjoy all those things, you have one of the best speedrunning sections in the game, in my opinion. I love this mission to death, other than the little sniper jackal section, that's not very cool. But again, run past it. Really not much else to say, just a banger through and through.
I've located a library similar to the one you found on the first Halo.
Regret. B. One of the lower of the Master Chief missions. I feel like it gets a lot of hate in the Halo community, mostly due to the repetitive gondola section. Had it have just been one ride on that thing, we probably wouldn't care. But two? Now granted, going up to the boss fight room, especially the uncut version where you could pick up the alien turrets and just storm it in there and punching bro in the head, that's super cool, but we could have done that after the first one. Speaking of that boss fight, it's kind of mid. It can be the worst challenge on a legendary playthrough. Honor guards everywhere, energy swords, grunts just Tom Brady's hit you with stickies no matter what you do. And for some reason, the holy scrotum can just erase you with his chair whenever he wants to. And on lower difficulties, it's kind of like boxing Mike Tyson. If he was 95 years old and asleep. It's just kind of boring. It's not the best mission of all time, but it's a good mission. Kind of lives in Delta Halo shadow though.
Politics, how tiresome.
Sacred Icon. D. I have a clip to describe a lot of this mission. Shoots and ladders simulator, except I'm really bad at shoots and ladders. And honestly, that was really neat. Then I really just wondered while I was running through the same hallways to fly down the same chute. And after that, guess what? Gondola ride, then more shoots and ladders. Now, the skybox for the mission's fantastic. If you stand outside at the start of the mission, you can see High Charity, where you're going to be soon, and you can see the lake where you just were with Master Chief on Regret, which is just grade A attention to detail. Little things like that make games sometimes. Sadly, though, skyboxes don't save bad gameplay, and this one can't save the shoots and ladder simulator.
How you doing?
Quarantine Zone. C. It's kind of like the successful older brother to Sacred Icon. It's like instead of doing crack in the 7-Eleven parking lot, he's doing crack in a Wendy's parking lot. Both of these levels just kind of feel dull, dark, and uninspired. What Quarantine Zone does do right, however, is the vehicle section. The intro to this level is a lot more engaging than Sacred Icon, even though both missions lack punch to me. But after that pretty engaging and fun vehicle section, guess what? Gondola. This one feels like one of the longest and one of the worst in the game, next to the godforsaken elevator in the Oracle. This mission honestly was going pretty well. It could have been a B tier, but yeah, a gondola brought it down to a nice fat C. The story on the Arbiter side still bangs. I just wish the gameplay did too.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Demon.
Gravemind. A. The Master Chief missions really carry the first 70% of this game in my opinion. Who could forget the infamous start to this level? All right, boys, here we go. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. Get in the door. If you play in Legendary, this mission feels like getting kicked in the nuts by Anthony Pettis. But it's also kind of iconic in a masochistic sort of way. Oh, did I mention that this mission started the Civil War? Abe Lincoln didn't even see it coming. You could walk out on the full-out battle that for once you're not the focal point of. Cortana even hints that you should sit some fights out sometimes, or that they're not even really focused on you. It's a really unique experience, and I think it puts the bow on top of a pretty great mission. I just now realized while exporting this that I did Uprising and High Charity backwards. School just started, and I'm ignoring all of it to edit, and I'm very tired.
Your pal. Where's he going?
High Charity. A. This has one of the coolest atmospheres in the game, showing off what I think are some of the creepiest sections in the game. It's just this alien city that's getting entirely taken over by the Flood. It just sets an amazing tone. I just wish it had the Warthog run that we got in the uncut version of this game. Oh, this is also the last mission that you play as the Master Chief.
By the rings, Arbiter.
Uprising. A. This mission begins right when the elites are betrayed by the brutes. We see dead elites. We can pick up their swords. Brutes are shooting bodies. And the soundtrack for all of this? Let me just say, Marty O'Donnell, have my This mission is just a masterclass in storytelling. It might be perfection, especially for 2004 and an FPS game. And other than the story, I like the gameplay of this mission a lot too. The vehicle section might be one of my favorite in the series, with Delta Halo, of course. I love how the path kind of takes you from point A to point B, sort of pointing you in the direction you need to go with these banked walls that turn into NASCAR faster than you can say tartar sauce. This mission's also a lot more beautiful and vibrant when compared to the other Arbiter missions, and I think that really helps it out. Like, I don't notice I'm playing the Arbiter as much as I do in the earlier missions. It doesn't feel like such a harsh transition. I think the gameplay is just a lot more fun and engaging.
You don't like me, and I sure as hell don't like you.
Great Journey. S. I know maybe that's a little high, but it's honestly such a good ending to this game. Once the mission starts, you get another really fun vehicle section with a great variety of transportation to choose from, whether you're feeling impatient or destructive. You start then fighting your way inside of the building to make your way up to Johnson in a Scarab. The testosterone levels here made Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a cashew. Once you make it up to Johnson, you get to guide him and his Scarab to Tartar Sauce's front door. Once you get Johnson to Tartar Sauce's front door, we get one of the best lines in the series.
Hey, bastard! Knock, knock!
The boss fight that comes after that's the best in Halo 2. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion, because it feels like an actual boss fight with like stages and different levels he can jump to. He's actually a fun boss to fight. Oh, and the Johnson trick is hilarious. Oh, if you don't want to beat the boss, Johnson's just okay with duplicating himself 55 times and shooting tartar sauce right in the noggin. God, I love Halo 2 speedrunning tricks. So yeah, that's my tier list. I know I talked a lot of smack on some of its missions, but Halo 2 is one of my favorite games, not just in the Halo series, but of all time. Did I get my list right? Or do you think I'm just a big fat doofus? So what would you change? And if you're new here, subscribe and drop a like on the video if you enjoy. I upload a lot of Halo content. So if you made it to the end, I really appreciate you watching, and yeah, see ya. Poop poop la doodle doo.